Is it? Thank you. It's not recording? Yes, it is recording. Thank you very much, Phyllis. Well, thank you and good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As Michelle pointed out, the title of my speech today is, what kind of a leader are you? Now, I don't know your personal situation, whether you are in a position of leadership or not, whether you are leading a group, whether at work, whether in your church, anywhere. But I know one thing, that you are, everybody in this room, whether you like it or you don't like it, we are all leaders. Because whether you are leading a group or not, I know positively that every single day, when you wake up, and from the moment you wake up until the moment you go back to bed at night, you are leading at least one person. And guess who that person is? That person is you. That person is me. You see, my fellow Toastmasters and friends, we will not be able to lead anybody unless we first and foremost lead ourselves. And to lead ourselves, we need discipline. Now, there are many definitions of leadership, there are many definitions of leaders, but I am going to tell you four elements that distinguishes these two types of leaders. And what are the two types of leaders that I am going to be talking to you about today? The first one are what I called moment leaders. Moment leaders. And the second type of leaders are movement leaders. So let's not confuse, although these two words, they start with M and they're similar, but their definitions are a gulf apart. Moment leaders and movement leaders. Now, what kind of questions do moment leaders ask? A very simple question. How long will this take? How long will this take? When a moment leader is presented with an opportunity to lead, whether it be on a new project, whether it be a group at work, whatever it is, just taking a group of people and leading them, a moment leader asks. And what is a moment leader is concerned about is how long? How long is it going to take? Because you see, as a moment leader, I don't want to spend too much time leading people. I don't want to take that time. I don't want to put in the effort. So how long is that going to take? Is it going to take a day? A week? And they're just concerned about timing. They don't care about the people that they're leading. They're caring about themselves. Is that going to take too much of me? Now, a movement leader, on the other hand, has a completely different perspective and outlook. A movement leader asks, how far can I go? Not how long will it take, but how far can I go? Because I want to go far, but not just myself. I want to bring the people that I'm leading to, I want to take them far as well. And what do I need to do if I want to go far? I want to keep growing myself. So a movement leader is a leader who is constantly and consistently growing in his personal life and in his leadership abilities. Because the more that you grow as a leader, the better you are going to be leading people and taking them to a sure success and to achieve their goals. So that's the first thing. The second thing that compares moment leaders with movement leaders is that moment leaders, they think that everything that you need to achieve is easy and it can be done quickly. You see, what a moment leader is what I called a microwavable leader. You know why? Because what happens when you come home and you are hungry and you don't want to wait? Then you ham and cheese pockets and you stick them in the microwave, and in a minute or 2 minutes at the most, eat. And what happens? Those pockets, they taste like plastic. They don't taste good. But what happens with a movement leader? A movement leader thinks that everything worthwhile is uphill. So if you want to go uphill, you have to develop uphill habits. Because you cannot go uphill if you have downhill habits. Impossible. So what happens with a movement leader? A movement leader doesn't stick things into the microwave. A movement leader prepares a meal and then puts it in the oven and waits 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes. But when you take it out and you savor that meal, it tastes awesome. That's what a movement leader does. Is patient, but it takes people to a better pathway than a moment leader. Now, the third characteristic and comparisons between a moment leader and a movement leader is that a moment leader acts according to his or her emotions, and they let their emotions be in the way of their leadership. Now, what happens if you, and there's nothing wrong with being an emotional person, but when you let emotions be on the way of your leadership, what happens? Today, you get up all great. I want to lead today. I feel like a leader. But what happens tomorrow if you just feel like you don't want to do anything? Then you just don't do it. Now, what happens with a movement leader? A movement leader doesn't let emotions be on the way, because a movement leader is led by the strength of his or her character. Character is important when you are a leader, because whether you feel like it or not, you will do your responsibility no matter what. So that's what a movement leader does, is guided by character as opposed to emotions. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard someone whom you ask the definition, give me the definition of love. What is love for you? And it says, oh, love is an emotion. I love. But what happens when you let love be an emotion? Today, you love. I love you, Simone, today. But then tomorrow, what happens? Oh, I hate you. You see, that's because you are guided by emotions. But what happens when you talk to people and it says, what is love? Love is action, is doing, then you are guided by character. It doesn't matter how you feel today, you are going to love a person whether you feel it or you don't feel it, because you are given by conviction as opposed to emotion. Now, the fourth and last thing about a comparison between a moment leader and a movement leader is that moment leaders are bigger on the outside than on the inside. Now, what happens when you are bigger on the outside as opposed to the inside? Then your leadership relies on your reputation, on your title. I am the director of management here in this company, or I am the whatever it is. And so, now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to lead, but you have a title. Now you have a title, but you don't have anybody following you. And what happens? Have you seen people who have lots of titles and they don't have anything following them? They are taking a hike by themselves. They are not leading anybody. They are just going on a walk. Now, what happens with a movement leader? A movement leader is bigger on the inside than on the outside. And that's when it comes the strength of the character of that leader. He's convicted and he wants to take people on their journeys because the movement leader doesn't care about himself. The movement leader cares about other people. And the movement leader wants to add value to other people. And by doing that, it adds value to himself. So I don't know what your journey is going to take you. The red light is on. But ask yourselves the questions. What kind of a leader are you aspiring to be? I hope that your choice is to be a movement, strong character leader. Madam Toastmaster.